Most people think that when you start focusing on yourself, it automatically makes your life better. But something interesting starts to happen. Relationships change, your priorities change, and you start noticing stuff that you wouldn't notice before. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what really happens when you start focusing on yourself. Some things are beautiful, but some other things are surprisingly uncomfortable. Hi, I'm Fabienne Raphael, and I created this channel to help people reconnect with themselves and live intentionally after life interrupts their autopilot. When you start focusing on yourself, something very surprising happens first. It's your life is quieter. It's not necessarily more peaceful, but it starts being quieter. So you realize that all of these other people's expectations or other people's opinions or a gazillion appointments on your calendar, they start fading a little bit. And that silence, it might feel awkward at first, but eventually what comes out of that is that you finally start listening to yourself, truly. I vividly remember those mornings after I had surgery, and they felt long and unorganized and empty because I didn't have appointments. I wasn't focusing on hitting goals. I was just having to focus on myself and my recovery and taking care of myself and putting all my energy into that. And it felt weird at first, but then eventually it quickly made me realize that this is how I had to do to make sure I got better. I also realized that most of my life was reacting to some type of things, reacting to what people expected of me or reacting to something that happened and I had to take care of, not necessarily prioritizing my own wants and needs. And when I finally had space in my schedule, something felt different and some things really started to change. I started having more space, and that space becomes very, very important. When you start focusing on yourself, the relationships, they also change. Some relationships become deeper and some others, they become uneasy. And the ones that become uneasy, it's because they were shaped around the old version of yourself, who used to say yes to everything or who wasn't necessarily good on setting boundaries. So finally doing that makes the relationship a little bit uneasy because that other person is not used for you to set boundaries or say no to things. And some other relationships, well, they deepen because this is also where you truly realize who strongly and deeply cares about you and your well-being. And that's also a very pleasant and amazing surprise because in these situations, this is where you totally realize who really loves you and who really cares deeply. Not only cares about you, but like generally cares about you. I remember the first few times where I finally decided to set more boundaries and say no instead of automatically say yes to some types of invitation. It definitely felt weird for me, and it definitely felt weird for the other person on the other end because they were always used for me to say yes. But hey, at a certain point, the person will adapt. And if this is one little thing that makes the relationship stop or fade away or shift completely, well, maybe that relationship served you for a while and you should be grateful for it. And then at a certain point, you just keep going with your life and it's okay. I don't necessarily feel that because you're not speaking to someone anymore, it means that you despise that person or you don't love them anymore or you despise them or anything like that. I feel like there are journeys where some people need to be around you in that journey and they have something to make you learn and they have something to bring into your life and you also have something to bring into theirs. And some friends are here for seasons, some friends are here for a reason, and some friends are here for a lifetime, like they say. And so I strongly believe in that. So don't feel bad if you feel that these relationships are changing because That's part of life. That's what I think. When you start focusing on yourself, what really, truly, strongly changes is your relationship with your own body. And that's the biggest shift. Because you remember, that external noise faded away and you are more open into listening to what's inside of you. And this is where you notice, oh, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I need rest. I need vacation. I need to step away from this project or from this relationship or from, I don't know, what type of engagement you had before and you feel that it's no longer aligned with what you want and who you are. And that's also okay, because when you finally get to that point, then your well-being is so much better than it used to be. Looking back to my journey, I realized that my body was constantly giving me signs: stress, fatigue, anxiety, IBS, a lot of stuff. And because I was so focused on what was going on outside of me, I wouldn't be sensitive enough to catch the internal signs that my body were giving. And that's where the danger lies. If you reflect about your life right now and you feel like, wait a minute, I've been so focused on external things that I've been ignoring what's happening inside of me this whole time, this is it. This is the right moment to do so. How do you feel today? And you know what? When you start doing all these shifts, when you care about yourself, when you respect what your body needs, when you embrace things that truly matter to you, what happens is clarity. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop people pleasing. You stop caring so much about other people's expectations, and you don't take obligations the same way. You don't feel responsible for everything and everyone. You don't want to control everything and being like part of every project that is presented to you. In other words, you are just starting to live intentionally. Focusing on yourself, it doesn't necessarily make your life easier, but it definitely makes your life more honest. You stop chasing validation. You stop reacting to things. You start being more open and really listening to what your body tells you, to what feels right for you, to what's aligned for you. And once you finally start doing that, it's really hard to go back to that old way of living that you had before. So I invite you to watch my next video about decluttering the obligations that keep draining your life.